This is my Satoh S650G. Got from my dad. It was sitting on his lawn for 8 or 10 years. Hadn't been used in that whole time, so we started it up the other day. Got it onto a flatbed truck and towed it over here. But it fired up within probably 5 minutes of playing with the choke, and now I got a whole bunch of stuff to change out, fix on it. Good reference online for these tractors. If you Google Satoh S650G, there's a whole website that has part numbers and references that you're going to need. They have the PDFs of the repair manual and all the different stuff. There's community there on the Facebook page as well that you can ask questions and see what other people have to say about it. There's also a few YouTube channels. Can't quite remember the names of them all, but there's one called Saturdays with, and whatever the guy's name is, and he has a couple 20 or 30 minute videos where he talks about doing repairs on his, as well as a couple who vlog, and I believe they're out west, and they have mixed in with some of their videos some repairs that they did on their tractor. But I'm gonna start doing little by little, getting this thing going again. It, like I said, it is running, fires right up. You have to play with the choke a little to get it to idle, but after a few minutes it'll stay running. I have already replaced the engine oil. I was gonna do a video about actually changing that, but it is pretty simple. This is oil filter. There's a few different brands you can get, and Napa has a lot of the parts you're going to need for these tractors. So I went with the long filter. The short filter would be just about even with this dipstick back here. This is just what they had for it in stock. And then, so you got the oil filter, dipstick. The oil drain plug is right underneath here. I believe that was an 18 millimeter. I got some oil coming out of it. I guess I gotta tighten that up a little bit more. And then under the hood, which I'm not gonna take this off yet, but you see your reservoir for your coolant, the oil fill is right about here, and on mine it's not a threaded cap, it's actually just a friction cap, a rubber one, so you can pop that off. Fill it up with the long filter. I believe it was about 4.5 quarts to fill it up, and then I think with the short filter it should be 4 quarts, I believe. So I bought one of the big jugs of 10 weight 30, and I just have about half a quart left, so it was right on the money there. That's what the website says as well. So after the engine oil, I'm about to start doing the transmission. And I haven't actually looked at what the oil looks like. I could take the whole cover off. I'm not going to do that today, but I did just replace this boot with the one from Napa. I believe it goes on a steering rack. You do have to cut the bottom ring off so then it'll fit. Make sure you cut it in between the wide parts, so then that smaller part, you just kind of finagle it right over the top there. Thinking I might try and find a clamp to go around the bottom as well, just to be extra safe. But it's a nice tight fit on the top. The ball is threaded. I ended up taking a pair of alligator vice grips and clamped onto the rod, and then put another one on the ball, spun that off. So I'm imagining there's water in it because the old boot was broken up. So down here underneath you have your main transmission plug, and then back here as well you have one on each side that you'll need to drain out. So we'll see what that looks like afterwards. I'm hoping it's not full of water, but if it is, at least I'm changing it out now. And for the transmission, oh, I don't have it over here, but it's just shy of 5 gallons you need. And for the pail of it at Napa, it was about $110, I believe. But after I get that changed out, I have a fuel filter to change out on it as well. I was gonna drain out the gas tank, but we had filled it to start it, even though I didn't really want to use the gas that was in there, but my dad had put seafoam in it, so I guess it worked because it fired up. After I get the fluids changed out, I want to take off all the metal here, the hood and the fenders, and sand those, paint them, try and maybe get some of these dents out, but if the dents won't come out, I'll just leave them. And while I'm doing that, I'd also like to wire wheel any of the rust and flaking that's on the frame, put a rust preventative on it, clean that, paint that. There is a video on YouTube of a guy who does that. He takes everything off, he paints the frame, makes it all look really nice. I think he went with the same color scheme of white, and then the frame he had as a dull red. If anyone has any leads on a good exhaust manifold, this one does leak a little bit, I've noticed. I think there's a hole right where my finger is on the side of it. I was looking online, and some of the used ones people have in their yards are about $200, somewhere around there, and then on top of that you'll have to pay shipping. For the muffler, I know you can get one that's off the shelf, I believe, at Napa, but you will have to retrofit it. I think a guy had posted saying that he got a muffler and then they cut a piece off of the new one that he got and then built a new exhaust pipe going to it. So I'm not sure what to do with the whole exhaust system yet, but we'll run it the way it is. But other than the painting and stuff, I just got to go through, clean off all the junk that's all over the engine, and the frame underneath where the engine sits. Go through and make sure I grease all the grease fittings. Again, the website is a great place to go to because they have the PDF manuals, repair manuals for it. So you can go right on there and it will show you diagrams of where all the Zerk fittings are, all the maintenance schedules, what all the parts and pieces are. It has original part numbers for the different things on here. I did see that you can get a starter that fits it, and I thought I had seen also that Walmart has one that is priced at $200, and according to their description it says it fits this, but I don't know, I haven't looked into it too much. But the one thing I want to do all this stuff to get it running, and so far I've only spent about $200, so then I can run it without being too worried about breaking anything. Get the oil changed, transmission changed, and everything. And once I know that this thing is going to run well and work good, then I will address these tires, which are probably the original ones on here. This is what it looks like all the way around. Lots of weather cracking, but so far it does hold air. Although, you know, I wouldn't want to trust this thing to do some serious work. Not sure what the cost on rear tires are. The front tires, I saw the couple who does vlogs, they did get at least one new tire, if not two, and they put that on there, so I might try and find out from them what tire they got and how much it cost them. I'm hoping the rims are still good. You know, they got some rust spots, but they're still holding together. Need to be wire wheeled and painted. Same thing that they did. Gonna need to change out this seal on the PTO drive shaft. You can tell because of all the junk around it just gets thrown out as the seal leaks. I wanted to do the seal at the same time I drained out all this transmission oil, but Napa has the seal, but it needs to be shipped. It's I believe it was like a $15 seal, but the shipping on it is $30. So I'm waiting on that to find out if they can get it anywhere else. If anyone has any ideas about if you do have one of these tractors, when I started up, and I believe I have this in neutral, the drive for the PTO shaft, even in neutral it will spin about like this at that speed. So I'm wondering if either I don't have it quite into neutral, if I have to play with it some more, or if there's an adjustment I can do to get it to stop spinning. When you do actually put it into lower high, then it spins the way it should, or at least looks like it the way it should. I don't know if it's a common thing that it just drifts as it's going, but actually I didn't even notice this oil cap here. I don't know if that goes to the transmission also, or if this is this must just be for the 3-point hitch. But anyway, this is the tractor. I'm gonna make some short videos as I go through it and post anything that I find, and so hopefully anyone who does get one of these tractors and wants to see a video of things being repaired, then I'll be posting those. That's the one thing that I was hoping to find more of. The website's great with all the information and part numbers that people have gotten for it, but there's also helps a lot to see videos of people actually showing you the tractor and going through while they fix it. So again, the oil change was really easy, although I did run into one issue, which I'll show you. I have the bigger one. So I only have these oil filter wrenches, and they don't work great. And if you've never seen one of these before, you essentially slip it on there onto the filter, tighten it up, and then the friction of you putting on it will help you spin it. But with the short filter, it was about half the length, came out to here. I couldn't get a good grip with the filter wrench onto it to actually get it off. And you also have this underneath that was getting in the way. I didn't want to break that or hit it too hard. And then you also have the dipstick that was getting in the way. So what I ended up doing was I took the dipstick out, and then I put my drill right here, and I drilled a hole about 1/2 inch back into the filter itself, after I had already opened up the drain plug under here, and drilled the hole, shoved the screwdriver into it, and twisted it down until I got to about here. And then I drilled another hole, twisted it down again, and by the time I did it twice, I was able to take the old filter off by hand. With the long filter, I'm going to assume it's going to be a whole lot easier to do it with one of these wrenches, but if you do have the cup style, I believe they're called, that just slides over the end and then twists it, that would be your best bet, especially with the short filter. If you do the screwdriver trick, just go really slow, get the screwdriver in as far as you possibly can, and then go real slow, because you don't want to keep cracking the side of it. But that was the only issue I really ran into with the oil change. Like you know, the manual says, I started it up, let it run for about 5 minutes on idle, and then drained it out, put in the 4.5 quarts, started it up again, let it run for a minute or two, shut it down, check the oil again, and it was right at the level it needed to be. So next I'll also have to change out the oil in this oil bath. I believe you just take the clamps off on the bottom, there's 3 clamps, and then change it out there. The carburetor, the guy who owned it before my dad had either switched it out or had rebuilt it. It looks like, by the looks of this gasket, I'm going to need to do that again. But there are rebuild kits that, they're not perfect, but you can rebuild these a little bit. And if you don't want to rebuild it, or there's something really wrong with yours, you can, I've heard, also get, I think they're off of Volkswagen Beetle, the old one, you can fit a carburetor on there. The website has information about that, as well as changing out the distributor cap, and either putting in a different electrical system, or just getting a new one that you can put right onto it. So I'll stop there. Gonna do the transmission oil change, and hopefully that goes well, but if it doesn't, I will post a video about it.